Preschool growth and development. What we're going to talk about here are the 3 and 4-year-olds, or up to age 5 actually. So we're going to begin with language of the 3-year-old. Their vocabulary at this point is 300 to 900 words, and 70 to 90% of that language should be intelligible by all people. They primarily use what we call telegraphic speech. They're very literal in their meanings of words. They can repeat sentences of 6 syllables, and they ask many questions, and they talk non-stop. For personal social, they have an increased attention span. They can master many self-care skills, so they're becoming more and more independent. They can do simple household tasks, such as pick up their own toys, take this to the trash for mom, that sort of thing. They know their own gender and the gender of others. They learn simple games, but they follow their own rules, and they may make them up as they go along. They have many fears, especially of the dark and of going to bed or monsters, but we should not reinforce those. Don't try to scare monsters out from under the bed. That only convinces them that they're real and they're really there. So they have an increased ability to separate easily from the parents, such as going to school, daycare, that sort of thing. And they have an increased ability to share when they want to. On fine motor skills, they can build a tower of 9 to 10 blocks and a 3-block bridge. They can copy a circle and a cross, and this is a drawing from a 3-year-old, which is very good because this person has eyes and a nose and a mouth and pupils. That's kind of a detailed drawing, but notice the arms are coming off the head, which is very common. This is a 4-year-old with a very pretty painted face. So the gross motor skills of a 4-year-old. They're very busy. They can hop, jump, skip on one foot. They can throw a ball over the hand. They can walk up and down with steps with alternating feet. They can ride a tricycle or a bicycle with training wheels. They can build a tower of 10 blocks, and they can draw a person with 3 or more body parts. And here's another drawing by a 4-year-old that I found, and it would qualify as more than 3 body parts, because it has all the facial features. It has hair, hands, arms, a trunk, the head, the arms, the legs. So that's a very good picture for a 4-year-old. Language: a 4-year-old can sing a song. They should be able to tell you their first and last name without coaching. Questioning is at its peak, so they can ask you nonstop questions. They can name more than one color. They understand prepositional phrases. They can comprehend simple analogies, and they can talk about their daily activities and experiences. So if you have a talkative 4-year-old, they can literally talk your arm off. For personal social, the play is associative. They can now play together instead of the parallel play of a 2-year-old where they play side by side, but they don't really pay attention to what each other is doing. They can distinguish fantasy from reality, but they still have a strong imagination. They're aware of gender and identify with the same gender parent. They may have periods of mood swings and aggressive behavior, but by now a child can start to use their verbal skills, so that should be lessening. And this is a 5-year-old. She was actually a missing child. The 5-year-old, it has a happy ending, don't worry. They do find her. A 5-year-old can skip alternating the feet, throw and catch a ball well, jump rope. They can walk forward and backward heel to toe. They have increased dexterity with tools. They can copy a square, a diamond, a triangle. They can draw a person with the head, body, legs, and arms. They can point to some letters or begin to recognize letters. And I know a lot of 5-year-olds, some of these accelerated daycare programs, they already know all their letters, all the sounds. They can write their own name, and they're beginning to even read at very early ages. But the average 5-year-old should be able to point to some letters. They should be able to begin to lace their shoes and tie their shoelaces. Although these days, I think everybody has Velcro tennis shoes or Velcro shoes in general. There's not a lot of tying available. These are the drawing abilities of a 5-year-old, which are very good. That kitty's pretty good for a 5-year-old. This is a whole family on the left. A 5-year-old has a vocabulary of over 2,000 words. They can use sentences with 6 to 8 words, and they use all parts of speech. They can follow 3 commands in succession, although that is difficult, I know, for many kids, even older kids, to really truly follow 3 commands. And they say that we should really never give them more than 2. Always, let them accomplish 2 and then give the third. But if we were truly pushing them, they should be able to do 3 in succession. They know 4 or more colors. They can name coins. They should know the days of the week, or can learn the days of the week, and the composition of familiar items. For personal social for a 5-year-old, they can actually have a single train of thought and become task-oriented. They can get dressed without help. They may need just minimal help with, buttons or a zipper or something that's really challenging, or still maybe with the shoelaces if they have to tie their shoes. They need to learn, if they don't know, their own address and telephone number in case they're ever lost. They need to, of course, know their parents' full names as well. They can count on their fingers. They listen to others, but exchange ideas in a very rudimentary fashion, which we would expect. Their manners improve, and in general, they get along well with their peers. So common problems in preschool is just school readiness. And is the child ready to separate from the family to go to school? Are they ready? Do they have some letter recognition? Can they hold a pencil? Can they write their name? Or can they, children are going to school so early, age 3, 4, 5. Of course, a 3-year-old may not be able to write their name, but are they ready based upon their age? Again, masturbation, if you've watched the earlier lectures, we know that this is common in age 3 to 6-year-olds, and this may be something that even happens at school. Nightmares and night terrors. Nightmare is a bad dream, like probably what you're familiar with. A night terror occurs in the early portion of the sleep cycle, usually within 1 to 2 hours of going to bed, and they wake up they actually aren't awake. They are screaming like they're terrified, but they're still asleep. And you just sometimes have to get them back in their bed and try not to wake them. Let them just go back to sleep. And then sibling rivalry, of course, and stuttering is a common issue. For preschool development, just a little bit of anticipatory guidance. Feeding, you do begin to start meal planning around the food preferences to some degree, but you also want them to be able to broaden their categories and eat with the family, or, preferably eat what everyone else is eating. You don't always want to cater, don't let the child always eat macaroni and cheese because that's what they'll always eat. If we limit their food choices, then they'll never learn to expand. So always have everything available so they can see it, feel it, touch it, try it if they want to. And then promote fruits and veggies. Never use food as a bribe, a reward, or a threat. Make a sticker chart. If you're trying to toilet train or whatever you're trying to do a sticker chart. Do a reward system, but try not to reward with food. And then for sleep, the average child needs 10 to 12 hours at night with 1 daytime nap or at least a rest period. And then, again, those nightmares, night terrors, emergence of fears, the monsters under the bed, that sort of thing tends to come to play. They need a lot of love and reassurance. For elimination, again, daytime control is usually achieved. The average for boys and girls is around 28 months, and nighttime control is usually around 33 months. But remember that 30% of children wet the bed at 5 years of age. It does decrease as they get older, but there is still a small percentage of children wetting the bed even at age 10, 11, or 12. And I had a family just the other day. They were all bedwetters. Every brother, every uncle, and this mom had, I can't remember, 3 or 4 kids, and every single one of them were at least 10, 11, 12 before they outgrew their bedwetting. And she had incredible patience and had been through it so much. I was really amazed at her patience with the whole situation and very proud of her. On behavior, preschoolers have a lot of imaginary friends, and that is very common and normal. For play and stimulation, they can play well by themselves, or they play well in associative play or playing together. On TV, they're fascinated by the color and the sound and the motion, of course. Who isn't these days with all the fancy graphics? And then for language development, just a reminder that 50% of language should be intelligible by age 2. 75% by age 3, and 100% understandable by all people by age 4. And again, discipline and safety issues, I will let you review. What is appropriate for discipline for a 3 to 5-year-old, and safety in the home? Again, it's going to be much of the same things, like the gun safety, teaching a child about stranger danger, that sort of thing. But any of our books have a lot of anticipatory guidance for this age group. So I'm going to let you review that on your own, and that is the end of the preschooler.